Why, hello there, everypony. This is Nightlife again, and I am bringing unto you Chapter 9 of Vinyl and Octavia University Days. Holy crap, I just said that correctly. Woo! Hoof pump. Okay, this is just Chapter 9 of Vinyl and Octavia University Days, done by Dawn Fade. Yes, that's it, Dawn Fade. And oh my, looking at the featured box on Film Fiction, apparently Pinkie Pie and Spike are going to be dating. Yeah, I'm not going to go any further. I'm not even going to mention the name of a certain comic done by a certain artist, which involves Spike and Pinkie. Nope, will not mention it. It's a very dark path that down that way leads. Also, this GCC. Yeah, it's no, don't even talk about it. All right, let's go. How did you sputtered the cellist? Spoke to the student coordinator. The that's Windows. We make her notify me that I've rendered something. No, I don't want to save it. Let's go. Spoke to the student coordinator. Replied to the DJ as she climbed out of the box. But you told you not to do that in class. Not told you not to do that because it was unlikely she'd let us move in together. Vinyl grinned and winked. When did carry myself across town an hour ago? I never used so much magic at once in my life. She gave a slightly breathless chuckle, and Octavia noticed beads of sweat clinging to her white coat. Wow, I feel great. The unicorn made to take a few steps closer, but stumbled, and the cellist rushed forward to catch her. The sound of fluttering wings came closer, followed by a thud in the doorway. Sorry, Vinyl, said the light blue Pegasus. I held her as long as I. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me get the door. She quickly pulled it closed before either of them could explain. Further muffled apologies came through the thin door, getting quieter than as the odd Pegasus retreated. Hey, this isn't 16.5 quite yet. Oh, speaking of this, no, I'll ask Go after the recording is done, or after a story's done. Why is there a hole in my wall? I'm sorry, there's a hole in my flippin' wall. Just like right there. There's a hole in my wall. The buck. Okay, let's get back to the story. Vinyl seemed to have accepted the fact that she could no longer stand, happily going slack in Octavia's hooves. This is cool, isn't it? Okay. I wasn't aware that overexerting magic made unicorns delirious, muttered the cellist, half dragging her friend over to the freshly made bed beneath the window. I feel pretty good about things, the DJ informed her, nodding her head slightly as she was placed gently upon the covers. That's nice, Vinyl, giggled Octavia as she turned back to unpack the rest of the white pony's possessions. The mare in question let out a low chuckle as she did so. You should walk away from me more often. Get some sleep, you silly pony. Lest I start writing down what you say so I can bring it up later. Sure enough, within a few minutes the room was flooded with soft snoring. Octavia rolled her eyes and dug into the nearest box. Unsurprisingly, she emerged with a stack of pristine records, neatly sorted in transparent cases and labeled with delicate consistency. After going through a second and third box and finding nothing but records, the cellist became exasperated. Did you even bring any clothes or personal items? She asked irritably. It didn't help that the only answer was in the form of a particularly loud snore. Deciding to shake the next box before opening it, she was delighted to hear the sound of small objects sliding around. If this isn't personal belongings, I'll eat my bow tie. Wow. Yes, 16.5. Sure enough, inside there were a number of little gadgets and miscellaneous objects. Of notable interest was a small phone. Was her phone, a small, easily concealed thing as was common to unicorns who rarely needed to physically touch their mobiles. She rolled it between her hooves and it activated, seemingly welcoming her touch. Yawning time. Octavia glanced at the sleeping unicorn cautiously, then let a little smile creep onto her face. It can't hurt to see how many contacts is considered normal. I won't look at any messages though, not unless my hoof slips. Uh-huh. Her eyes widened as the names began to scroll. Oh my. There were hundreds! Although some were named that dude with the goatee and red-maned mare. Or that dude with the goatee and red-maned mare. There were still a great many with proper titles, far more than the gray mare had anticipated. Comparing her own meager list of 3 numbers, Vinyl, her mother, emergency services, she felt like an inexperienced player in a complex social game. Oh dear, I've accidentally opened her recent texts. Strangely enough, aside from some pony named Shady Sex Bomb, she was the only pony Vinyl had texted in the last couple of weeks. Where are all her party invitations? Does she call them instead of texting? That seemed the most likely answer, but Octavia resisted the urge to go through the recent calls. What if she is as bored and lonely as I am? Oh, thanks, Celestia, she found a way to have us share a room. Things were looking up. Curiosity satisfied for the moment. She carefully placed the various keepsakes and such upon Vinyl's desk. There was still a lot of unpacking to do, not to mention some shuffling of the furniture. A mixing table really shouldn't sit in the center of the room. ... Page break. Next scene. Dun dun dun. The DJ awoke to a soft, deep reverberating. I cannot say reverberating tones of a cello somewhere to her right. Raising her head a few inches, a magnificent scene revealed itself. There, sitting on the bed opposite her, half covered in the speckled orange glow of sunset shining through rain, was Octavia. Eyes closed, absorbed in her work, hoof gently gliding the bow across the strings. She struck a memorable sight, and in the waking days of the sleepy DJ's mind, that sight became positively angelic. Gasping, the unicorn finally remembered to breathe, and in doing so unintentionally alerted the subject of her fascination. Huh? Those amethyst eyes flickered open and trained themselves on Vinyl. Oh, you're awake. Sorry, I always practice at sunset. I should have gone somewhere. No, croaked the DJ. Clearing her throat and sitting up slightly, she continued. It's cool. Can you keep playing, please? I gotta do something. Clap, clap, clap. Octavia frowned, but did as she was asked, resuming the piece with the calm skill of a master. Only in university and she's already a master cellist. Her cutie mark does not lie. But when do they ever? Vinyl slipped off the bed and padded across the room, giving the cellist almost reverent berth. From the neatly stacked school supplies that had transported themselves onto her new desk, she withdrew her sketchbook and pencils. Upon seeing it, Octavia's cheeks flushed red. Vinyl, I'm not very good at... Shh, hushed the white pony, positioning herself in front of her roommate as if she was in a daze. And dazed she was, now exposed completely to the musician before her. Higher thought processes escaped her, instead replaced by an insistent, congenial urge to create. Together they sat, one reciting and the other creating, in the dusk bloom. As the most perfect of moments are wont to do, it ended too soon. The sun drifted completely beneath the horizon and broke the two ponies from their mutual waking dream. Octavia lowered her bow and stretched her suddenly aching foreleg as Vinyl looked up in surprise at her odd position on the floor. "Why am I sitting here?" she muttered, climbing to her feet and cracking her neck. "You were drawing." The cellist gestured to the sketchbook, currently open on an image of a pony with a, "You were drawing me?" I guess I was. And you were playing for me." They frowned at each other. There was a moment of silence. Vinyl snorted and started to chuckle. "What the heck are we doing?" She laughed even harder. "I have no idea." Octavia burst into a fit of giggles. The absurdity of the situation only fueled their mirth. Not even a day of living with you, and I already feel like I've been drugged." Oh, it's all down here from here. It's all downhill from here, Philly. The DJ tossed the sketchbook back onto her desk and climbed onto the bed beside her friend. "Oh, Celestia, why did I agree to this?" "You didn't. That's why it's so awesome." She playfully jabbed a hoof into Octavia's side, eliciting a squeak. "Oh. What's this?" A devious grin parted her lips. Nothing. Don't do that again." Saying that was practically an invitation. The unicorn dived on the gray pony and brought her hooves in for full effect, rubbing and tickling her stomach with glee. "Ah, no, stop. No, please." "What's that? You chilled off a bit at the end." Vinyl Vinyl redoubled her efforts despite the mare's struggles and hysterical laughter. "Vinyl, I will kill you." With a mighty buck, she rolled the two of them off the bed, narrowly missing her abandoned cello and landing with a thud on the carpet. They lay there, panting and staring at each other, almost muzzle to muzzle. One wore a silly grin, and the other tried her best to muster a fear-inspiring glare. It wasn't working, as evidenced by a lazy white hoof drifting up and poking her nose. "Boop," whispered the DJ. "You will die by my hoof," the cellist hissed through, though she couldn't help the smile that grew across her face. "Such a nice little mare, aren't you?" "I was? You ruined me." Val let out a low chuckle, but remained silent, still wearing a lopsided grin. What? Octavia raised an eyebrow. "Nothing. Just thinking about ruining you." The last one was her thought, by the way. "Tell me, what's so funny?" "You probably wouldn't find it funny." Her mind raced, knowing the other mayor wasn't going to drop the issue. "One way to find out. Tell me." "Alright, I was thinking you'd think you were ruined now. Just wait. This is just the beginning." She gave the most evil grin she could manage for emphasis. "Oh, shush. I don't think you're as bad as you pretend to be." Vinyl moved slightly closer, glasses masking her wide eyes. "Let me show you how bad I am," she said softly, heart pumping so hard she was afraid it might burst. Octavia followed suit, apparently interpreting the movement as conspiratorial rather than anything else. "How? Have you got any pranks planned?" She giggled at the thought. Yeah, sure." "What am I doing? Was I really trying?" "Well, try not to include me in any of them. I'd rather stay off the university blacklist as long as possible. Though I suppose now I'm sharing with you. It's an inevitability." She chuckled and brought her hoof up to tap Vinyl's nose. "Boop." The DJ forced a laugh, her brain still reeling from certain thoughts. "Yeah, pretty much. Well, if you don't have any pranks planned right now, we should get something to eat. All that getting tortured by you has left me famished." Yeah. Octavia climbed through her hooves and helped her friend do the same. "Good idea. Anywhere in mind?" Vinyl tried to keep her tone even as she shook her head to dislodge some persistent mental images. Oh my. Perhaps Blue's Tavern? For nostalgia's sake? The pair shared a warm smile. Sounds like a plan. In contrast to the page break every pony. Yeah, 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 yeah. In contrast to the chilly gray streets outside, the tavern was warm and brightly lit. Ponies laughed with their friends as they let the stresses of life trickle down to the sides of their mugs. A group of hard hat toting workers stallions had taken 3 booths, including the corner one. So Vinyl instead led her roommate to a table on the less rowdy side of the bar. I didn't even know his place served food, muttered the unicorn, floating some menus over from the bar counter. It's not it's something extravagant, but it will do. My mother took me here once when we came to inspect the campus grounds. Yeah? Sounds like your mom. Sounds like you and your mom are pretty close. Well, to some degree, I suppose. Octavia perked up. Octavia picked up one of the tall menus and hid her expression behind it. What about your parents? Idly browsing the array of greasy foods, Vinyl shrugged. They're lame. Kicked me out as soon as I turned 18. The cellist gasped, forgetting her own troubles in an instant. They what? How could they do that? Pretty easily, apparently. That's horrible. Who needs them? Besides, if I hadn't got kicked out, I might not have been able to move in with you so easily. Well, still. I bet I know what she was kicked out for. Fucking homophobic pricks. The topic slipped away as a tall, blonde-maned stallion approached. How can I serve you? He drawled, accent offsetting his manner. Large hay fries and a deep-fried daffodil kebab, announced the unicorn, slamming her menu down with more force than was necessary. Excellent choice. As for the missus? Vinyl opened her mouth to correct him, already preparing for a fake laugh to dispel the anticipated awkwardness. But Octavia spoke too quickly. I'll have a daisy salad, please. Another good choice. Coming right up. Marching away, the odd stallion began to whistle, completely unaware of his actions. Octavia, you know what a missus is, right? It was the cellist's turn to shrug. A slang word for friend? Almost. Well, not actually. Not even close, really. The white mare couldn't help but chuckle. What does it mean? Like, partner. As in, partner. Female partner? Oh. As expected, her cheeks flushed red with embarrassment. And now he thinks, yep. Oh dear. I'm very sorry, Vinyl. Is there a dictionary of something where I can learn these slang words where all these slang words are defined? I seem to be making this mistake often. Don't worry about it. You'll get the hang of slang eventually. Should I go find the way to explain it? The DJ sat upright instantly. No! I mean, it's not important enough to bother with, okay? Alright, it was just an idea. Silence reigned for the next few minutes, punctuated only by the ambient noise around them. Octavia felt awful, and had yet to stop mentally kicking herself. Vinyl must get so frustrated with me sometimes. Why must I be so awkward? Thankfully, Vinyl seemed to be tactful and polite enough not to make fun of her. Whatever she had done to deserve such a tolerant roommate wasn't enough. A little grateful smile tugged at the corner of her mouth. A better best friend she couldn't have hoped for. Are we talking like Yoda now? I certainly hope not. That gets annoying. A better best friend she could not have hoped for. Yeah. For her part, Vinyl was busy studying the table carefully, only because she had an appreciation for well-built furniture, not because she wanted to keep her mind from wandering. It did that enough already. The giddy feeling that spread through her every time she relieved relived the waiter calling Octavia her Mrs. Seriously, Brain, shut up! It was a relief when the food finally arrived. They both dug in immediately, not daring to leave a moment for conversation. As her stomach slowly filled up, the DJ felt her mood improve significantly. That was why she kept having weird thoughts. Her brain was just food deprived. It made sense. I'm feeling good. Want to hit up some clubs? She asked, ignoring the glances ponies that threw their way, ignoring the glances ponies threw at her from nearby tables. After dinner? That's just asking for trouble. Octavia delicately pushed her plate forward and dabbed her lips with a napkin. Vinyl snorted. You've had half a salad. You'll be fine. Plus, we don't have to drink if you don't want to. Biting her lower lip, the cellist fiddled with her mane before shaking her head. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm honestly tempted. However, I have a history lecture tomorrow that I would rather not miss. I guess I was wrong. You're still a nice little mare. She stuck out her tongue, and the gray mare rolled her eyes. Hey, it's almost 8. We better get home in time for homework. Oh, har. Though I really should get started on my homework. They stood up and walked over to the counter amidst giggles. Octavia carefully began to count out each bit until Vinyl tossed a hoopful of coins onto the counter and pulled her away with a grin. Pretty impressive, huh? The DJ raised her eyebrows behind the purple shades as they walked out onto the street. What was? Paying that much for a meal? I mean, I look pretty cool, right? I suppose so. It seemed like a waste, though. You could have saved those bits for the next time we go out. A white hoof smacked into a white face. That wasn't the point. Well, what was? The simple question hung in the cold night air. Vinyl looked at the ground, studying each step. I don't know, she muttered. Together they ambled into the welcoming darkness in which emotions could hide. And that's the end of this chapter. Pretty short, huh? Only about 22 minutes. Author's note. Sorry for being a little late. Well, me too. My own university studies occasionally intrude on ponies. Likewise, I feel for you, man. Probably no references in this chapter, and thus no cameo contests. Sorry, folks, they only happen if they happen naturally. I'm not going to just go back and plant them. In case you were somehow unaware, the mysterious Brony made a song based on this fic. Oh, really? Consider it the theme song. I recommend playing it before each chapter while imagining an opening title sequence. Oh my gosh, okay. Somebody out there who is good with animating stuff, make this. It's already got a freaking title song. It can be done. I promise you. This is awesome. Even if it takes a long time, just do it, please. It'd be so awesome. Well, maybe not, seeing as there is the 0.5s. Oh, speaking of those, it was brought to my attention. Oh, as you know, I have read ahead on this story a bit, but I've only gotten to chapter 13, and by then, Vinyl and Octavia's relationship is picked up. But it was brought to my attention that there is something called chapter 16.5, which is, if I'm correct, is an optional chapter that is possibly I haven't looked at it at all, so I'm kind of in the dark here, but it is most likely entirely Klopp, or yeah, I would call it that. Again, it's an optional chapter, something that has no real impact on the story, but yeah, it's been brought to my attention that these chapters exist, and there are the 0.5s, and I'm leaving it up to the reader whether or not I should read these. Now, as you know, I have a bit of a stance against Klopp, at least reading it on my channel, but if you, the listeners, would like me to read this chapter, then I will rate it appropriately and read it for you. Although I can't promise it will get up anytime soon, as we are only halfway there after all. Oh well, if you want me to read that fic or that one, if that one chapter, then I shall read it. Seeing as I don't have too many viewers right now, I will read it if even one pony asks me to. So yeah, all I need to do is to have one pony ask, and I will read Vinyl and Octavia University Days Chapter 16.5. Yeah, if it hasn't hit you right now, if it hadn't hit you already, it's gonna be an NSFW. I'll mark it as such and leave it as an optional chapter. Yeah. So that's all for right now. And before I ramble, this has been Chapter 9 of Vinyl and Octavia University Days. Remember, if you want me to read Clop, tell me to. Only this one time. Bye.